Hey everyone, Andrea Fasano here for BeterrificTV, and I am standing at the Sunshine Cinema at the world premiere for the Back to the Future documentary, Back in Time. Now, I don't know if you guys know, which if you don't, the co-creator, co-writer, co-producer standing with me right here for Back to the Future, Bob Gale. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you don't know, go Google him and after this interview. But hey, Bob, how are you?
I'm great, Andrea. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for being here. It's the world premiere of this documentary for Back in Time, based on the movie Back to the Future. Now, how did you even begin to get involved with this?
Well, and if it has to do with Back to the Future, it probably comes across my desk at some point because I'm kind of the de facto creative gatekeeper for all things Back to the Future. So the guys making the movie, Jason and Lee and Lewis, they contacted me. They said, hey, we're trying to do this documentary. Could you help us out? And, you know, what they've done is really kind of a nice love letter to the trilogy. So I said, sure, you guys are going to make us look good? I'll help you make us look good. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So this is 30 years since the movie.
Right. 30 years since the first movie, which was July 3rd, 1985. And tomorrow, October 21st, 2015, if you're a Back to the Future fan, you know what that date means. If you don't know what that date means, you're probably not watching this show.
Exactly. Otherwise, like we said, they should go Google it and come back and watch the interview again. Right. So that's incredible that they got this in time for the 30-year anniversary. You've got so much going on this week, but you were telling me off camera you have so much going on just this year. Is that something you could have anticipated, you know, when you first created the whole story and the movies?
Andrea, if 30 years ago, when I'm sitting in my office at Universal, and some time traveler from 2015 walked into my office and said, hey, Gale, guess what you're going to be doing in 30 years? You're going to be being interviewed by this cute girl in a beautiful red dress talking about Back to the Future. I'd say, what are you drinking, and could I have some, please?
Now, I want to take you seriously, but you've made so many incredible predictions in these movies that it's just hard to ignore. And number one being the Cubs this year. I read the ESPN article. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, you are not even a Cubs fan, you're a Cardinals fan.
Well, that's right. I'm a Cardinals fan, and it doesn't matter who you root for in baseball, you know that the Cubs are losers. So that's the joke, right? And now it might not be a joke. We'll find out.
And we're here in New York, so we're going to root for the Mets for now, but I feel like you had an opinion on that.
Well, look, I'm going to root for the Cubs because the longer that the Cubs stay in it, the more people are going to be talking about Back to the Future.
Absolutely. So, based on that, with other predictions you've made, they have actually come true. Tell me about some of the, look, we're standing right here next to the Swagway, which is a, futuristic version of the hoverboard.
Well, this one it's still got wheels on it, so it hovers to a certain extent. Yes. But there actually is a real magnetic hoverboard, the Hendo hoverboard, and tomorrow, on October 21st, 2015, they're going to unveil version 2.0 of that. I'm proud to say that I rode version 1.0 of it. So I actually rode a hoverboard in October 2015. So how's that for being cool?
It's impressive, absolutely. And so tell me a little bit about the events your year has been crazy. Have you gotten any writing done?
No, the only writing I've done is writing about Back to the Future, writing articles about Back to the Future, supervising the new Back to the Future comic book. It's all Back to the Future all the time in 2015.
But you got to enjoy it while it's happening, right?
Absolutely. How many movies have this kind of longevity? Not many.
The script has been referred to by many in the business as a perfect script. And being a co-writer, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means that something is seriously wrong with the zeitgeist of the world if they think that I'm the guy, right? Listen, it's flattering. It's wonderful. I'm totally delighted about the way that it's permeated the culture and how it's nice to be appreciated. What can I say? That was one of the most wonderful things when the movie first came out, was that people realized, oh my God, this movie really had a script they really thought about it. It's really clever. It's really smart. And that's very gratifying that 30 years later people are still saying that.
Absolutely. And this week, we were just talking about off camera, Star Wars, what are they doing? Revealing tickets this week of all weeks with Back to the Future coming out. Come on, George Lucas.
Yeah, I wish they'd just give us our 1 week, our 1 day in the sun here without breaking the internet with these ticket sales.
Well, who knows what this documentary will do. I heard it's fantastic, and it really delves into the behind the scenes of Back to the Future, the DeLorean, and some great actors and yourself being in the movie and telling some secrets, if you will.
Well, there's that, but for me, the most wonderful part of this documentary is how it explores the effect that Back to the Future has had on so many people's lives, and seeing how it's touched people in so many different ways. To me, that's what I love the most about this show.
That's got to be, it's the most important, it's the biggest effect for you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So what's one of the best stories you heard about Back to the Future and how it affects someone?
Well, in this movie, you'll see the story about Oliver Haller, who was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he made up his mind that before he died, he wanted to own a Back to the Future DeLorean, and building that DeLorean turns out to save his life.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's just a little tidbit. So everybody, you need to see this documentary.
Definitely go watch the documentary Back in Time. A few more questions for you that are kind of fun. So what is your favorite quote from the movie? I'm going to go with the first one, but you can tell me all three. All three is a lot, so one or two.
Well, one of my most favorite is from part 3, when the engineer says, "Is this a holdup?" And Doc Brown says, "No, it's a science experiment."
I remember that one. And if you were going to spend a day with a character from one of these movies, who would it be?
Doc Brown, of course.
Definitely. Now tell us why.
Well, because Doc is the smartest man in the universe. Who wouldn't want to spend a day with the smartest man in the universe?
When you created him, was it based on any crazy scientist that you'd seen before?
No, the inspiration actually was when I was a little kid. My next door neighbor was a professional photographer, and he had a dark room in his basement. And he invited me over when I was, 9 or 10 years old, to show me how you develop film. And he was like a Doc Brown. He made magic happen right in front of me. He had, then he puts the negative in this enlarger. You can make it any size. And I was totally mesmerized. And I thought this guy was the coolest guy I'd ever met.
That's an amazing story. I bet nobody knows that.
Not too many people know it, so there you go, Andrea, an exclusive for you.
Be Terrific and Andrea Fasano exclusive right here. Thank you so much, Bob. It has been a pleasure.
You're very welcome, and see you in the future.
Yes, I'll see you in the future. Thank you so much for joining me. I could talk to him for the next 2 hours, but we only have a half hour that we're live streaming here at BeTerrific.com, and they're going to go in there to see the world premiere of Back in Time. You guys sit right there. We will be right back with more incredible people and the behind-the-scenes story of Back to the Future.